After reading about the XZ backdoor exploit and some of the chatter relating to it, I'm not entirely sure what to think. On one hand, it seems like the bad actor had little resistance merging nefarious code and a utility that has embedded itself virtually everywhere I care about. But my other hand is telling me we cannot expect to prevent this class of supply chain attack from happening again and again. We demand software be free and open, but when something goes wrong with that free volunteer labor system, we cannot reconcile with why this keeps happening. Compounding things in my mind are the recent community discussions surrounding the Redis adoption of a dual source available licensing. I don't know. This is starting to feel like a cultural problem within foss. We want foundational and critical systems to be free and open, while also having high standards for security, stability, and performance, among many others. We are extracting labor from the passionate and resolute for financial gain. Trillions of dollars in economic growth rests on volunteer labor. We need a business model that doesn't trigger a splintering of forks and along with it community endorsement. I do wonder, have we already seen that business model? Does our collective perspective need to shift? It just doesn't seem like something can be prevented. The fact that it was a stroke of luck that someone discovered this backdoor leads me to believe that there are probably other backdoors that are existing in our systems today that we don't know anything about. State actors have probably a handful of zero-day backdoors that they're keeping secret and using it for espionage or data acquisition. It might not even be state actors. It could be just hackers in general that have 0 days that they're sitting on. This is just one example that we caught ahead of time by one person saying that their SSH command is half a second slower than it should be. And I'm not convinced that watchdog groups or being vigilant with code reviews is really going to be enough. Someone that has malicious intent and is actively hiding things from reviewers or honestly, after reading the whole history of the XZ backdoor and how code slowly got into the binary, it actually seems almost like social engineering as well, because the maintainer admits that he had some mental health issues and he needed to step back from the project, and probably feeling a little burned out from continuing to work on it basically solo. And then Gia T comes along and says, "Hey, I'll help. Let me merge some pull requests and write some tests, and everything looks legit." And then, oh, by the way, it's not legit. I don't know. It feels like social engineering here, just as much as a bunch of clever tricks to create a backdoor through the SSH authentication process. How are we going to prevent this from happening again? It feels impossible to me. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't try. We absolutely should try, but I am not hopeful for watchdog groups or being hyper vigilant. The tech world has amnesia with these kinds of exploits. It happens. Everyone gets all up in arms. How could we let this happen? And it's well, it's all volunteer labor. No one's getting paid to work on this. And, say what you want about our various economic systems that we have in place, but price is a very, very important aspect of getting things done. Trading labor for, financial remuneration is so foundational, and it's all about setting up incentive structures, and all of those lead into getting things done the right way. If you want things done the right way, you got to pay for it. And we have, if we look at just XZ as a tool, and how it's basically inserted into virtually every Linux machine on the planet, and then you trace it back to a single person doing this for fun, essentially, and we're sitting here completely shocked that the free and open source software has failed us yet again. This is coming from someone who really likes foss and is a part of it and cares about it deeply. But I don't know. And then you juxtapose it against the Redis news, where Redis is like, look, we're going to do a dual license because all of these huge million, billion, $trillion non-companies are using Redis and they're not giving us a cent to maintain it. That's not fair. Let's set up a dual license. Let let individual developers use it use it freely. But if you're a company, you got to pay for it. That sounds perfectly reasonable. But as we've seen through the community, everybody's now scrambling to fork Redis to keep it foss. But XZ is foss, and I believe it led to this exploit. There weren't enough people getting paid to work on this project. So, look, LGTM is just what you do. Merge it. I don't care. I don't know. It doesn't feel like foss is scaling the way we had hoped.